What's going on, everybody? This is Midnight Rage, and today we have a lot of juicy follow-up updates on Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 coming to PlayStation in July. And some of these details make this whole situation way more interesting. Now, if you've been watching the channel, you already know we've talked a lot about Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 rumors, leaks, updates, and everything surrounding these games coming back. But today we got some more information for you. So we have more updates from CharlieIntel, more details to break down, and honestly, some new questions that make this whole thing feel like a good news, bad news situation. Because yes, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 coming back to PlayStation is massive. That hype is obviously still real. But now we have to talk about what these releases actually are, what they might cost, how DLC could work, what happens with progression, and whether these games can actually last after the nostalgia wears off. Because we all know launch week in July is going to be fun. But the real question is, what happens 1 month later? So let's get straight to it. First, I want to quickly point out how big this moment actually is. Because when Treyarch confirmed that Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 are being ported to PlayStation, that tweet absolutely exploded. Millions of views, massive engagement, and it turned out to be Treyarch's most liked tweet ever. That tells you everything you need to know. Call of Duty fans are clearly starving for classic COD. And like I said in my previous videos, this is not just nostalgia anymore. This is proof that a huge part of the community still wants that older Treyarch experience back in the spotlight. But that also means that expectations are high. Fans are not treating this like some random old port. To a lot of people, this feels like classic Call of Duty finally getting another chance. And that's why the quality of these ports matters so much. And what makes this even more interesting is that Black Ops 1 and 2 are not the only older games coming back into the spotlight right now. Because in July, we also have Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. We have Halo Campaign Evolved coming back into that classic game conversation. And now Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Now, obviously, remasters, remakes, ports, collections, they're not new, right? Gaming companies have been bringing back older games for years. But that's exactly why this moment is interesting. Even after years of remakes and remasters, fans are still showing up for these older games. That tells you that the demand has not gone away. But here's where Call of Duty feels different. Because Black Flag Resynced and Halo Campaign Evolved, they're being treated like modern returns and remakes. But Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, at least based on what we know right now, are being treated more just like ports, and that's it. So that brings us to the first major CharlieIntel update. According to CharlieIntel, the Black Ops and Black Ops 2 releases for PlayStation are ports specifically, as Treyarch mentioned. It will be its own servers, not the PS3 ones. And also, there's no crossplay, performance upgrades, or new features mentioned at all. That's the part that caught my attention. These PlayStation versions will have their own servers, not the old PS3 servers. That part's good, right? Because a lot of the biggest questions early on was whether these games were just going to rely on those old PS3 infrastructure or those servers. But if these ports have their own servers, that tells me that PlayStation versions are at least being separated from the old PS3 setup. And since Iron Galaxy is handling the ports, that makes sense. They are not just throwing the old PS3 versions back out there and calling it a day, at least not completely. But here's where my concern starts. CharlieIntel also said that there has been no crossplay, no performance upgrades, and no new features mentioned. Now, the no crossplay part does not shock me. I already said in my previous video that I did not expect Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 to suddenly come back with full crossplay support. These are older Call of Duty games being ported to PS4 and PS5, not rebuilt from the ground up like modern releases. So that's not surprising. The bigger concern is everything else. No performance upgrades, no new features, no major improvements mentioned. That's what makes me pause. Because if these games have their own servers, that's a positive. But if they are launching with none of that information, no upgrades, no features, no clear update plan or path, then this really does feel just like a straight port experience. And for some fans, that is going to be enough. They just want Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 playable on modern PlayStation consoles, myself included. But for other fans, especially in 2026, they may have expected a little bit more polish. Better frame rate, better resolution, improved visuals, maybe some quality of life updates. Something to make these classics feel a little bit better on PS4 and PS5. And that's the big question. Is simply being playable enough? Now, these new servers also bring up another question that I don't think enough people are talking about just yet. And that is, what happens to progression? Because if these PlayStation ports have their own servers, does that mean that everyone starts over? Are we all going back to level 1? Are we all grinding weapons again? Unlocking perks, attachments, camos, challenges, and prestiging from the beginning? Or could old progression still be tied to your PlayStation account somehow? And that is really interesting to think about. Because if you played Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 back in the day on PlayStation, maybe your old rank, prestige, your stats, your unlocks could still be connected to your account. But if these ports are running on their own servers and not PS3, there's also a real chance that this could be a fresh start for everybody. And honestly, I like that idea a lot better. Imagine Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 coming back. Everyone starts on the same leveling playing field. Everybody's level 1. Everybody's grinding again. Everybody's working towards prestige again. Yeah! That's going to make launch feel way more alive. It would not just be people logging in with max prestige accounts from 2012 and so forth, right? It would feel like a real return. A fresh start gives players something to chase. It gives us as content creators something to make videos about. It gives the community something to talk about. It makes launch feel like an event, not just a nostalgia download. But I can also understand the other side as well. Some people spent years on these games. They earned their prestiges. They earned their stats. They unlocked their weapons. So if they load into the PlayStation port and everything's gone, some players might be upset. And for some people, that old progression is part of the nostalgia. So I do hope that that does get clarified before release, because progression could actually play a bigger role in how long these ports stay active. Now, I also want to talk about the pricing update, because this is where things get a little controversial. So CharlieIntel also posted that Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 on PC and Xbox received some store updates. According to the update, the base game is now $40 each. Individual DLC packs are $10, which were previously $15, and the season pass is $30, previously $50. And camo personalization packs are now free. CharlieIntel also said this could be how PlayStation ports are priced too. So if that same pricing carries over to PlayStation, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 being $40 each, so if you want both games, you're already looking at $80 before DLC. And I already know what some people are going to say. $40 each for games this old? That's crazy. And honestly, I get it. They're older games. They're not remasters. They're not full remakes. And based on the updates that we've seen, no performance upgrades and no new features on top of that. So yes, from that perspective, $40 each can feel expensive. But at the same time, guys, is it really surprising? No. Because this is Activision we're talking about. For years, older Call of Duty games have stayed expensive on places like Steam, Xbox, the Microsoft Store, and other digital storefronts. So historically speaking, Activision charging premium prices for old Call of Duty games is not new. I think part of this, us as fans getting excited and we're hoping Activision would do something different this time, especially when you consider the competition. Battlefield last year, we got GTA 6, coming in November. Activision wants Modern Warfare 4 to be successful, etc. So maybe we were hoping the games would come back cheaper. Maybe we were hoping the DLC would be included. I actually thought that was going to happen, right? Maybe we were hoping for some kind of Black Ops Classic bundle, but from history, this is not surprising. Now, look, I just want to say it does not mean in any way, shape, or form that I agree with it. From an ethical standpoint, I do think these games should be cheaper. Because if these are just ports with none of those features, upgrades, none of that clear update plan, the $40 each is hard to justify, right? Especially if DLC is separate. And I have to say, it's actually kind of ironic because my very first video about BO1 and BO2 coming back or possibly coming back was titled BO1 and BO2 are coming back, but there's a catch, right? And wow, what a freaking catch if this is true. Because if these games launch at a premium price and players still have to pay separately for all the DLC, that changes the conversation. The catch might not just be that these are ports. The catch is that if you want the full Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 experience on PlayStation, you may have to buy the base games, the DLC, and then maybe even buy the season pass, depending on how they structure it. And that nostalgia bill is going to get expensive very, very fast. Now, to be fair, the DLC price drops are better than nothing. DLC packs going from 15 to 10 is better. Season pass going from 50 to 30, that's better. Free camo personalization packs, that's a nice touch. I'll give credit for that. But DLC in older COD games can be very tricky because it can split the player base, just like it did back then. Some players only buy the base game. Some buy maybe just one map pack. Some buy all of them. Some only care about zombies. Some only cared about the multiplayer. So if matchmaking separates people based on who owns what, that can make lobbies harder to find over time. For Zombies fans, the DLC might still be worth it. BO1 and BO2 have legendary Zombies content. People are going to want maps like Kino, 5, Ascension, Call of the Dead, Moon, Mob of the Dead, Buried, Origins, and yes, even Transit. And yes, I know, before somebody comments, I know we can go back and play these games on PS4 and PS5 with Black Ops 3, with Zombies Chronicles. Yes, I know that. But for multiplayer, the DLC situation is more complicated. The more divided the player base becomes, the harder it is to keep multiplayer alive long term. And that brings me to my biggest concern with Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 coming back to PlayStation: longevity. The hype's going to be there at first. No, there's no doubt about that. People are going to download these games. They're going to jump into multiplayer. They're going to replay the campaigns. They're going to revisit zombies. Content creators, we're going to make videos. But what happens after that first few weeks? This is what I'm watching. Because hype alone does not keep a game alive. Stable servers do. Good matchmaking does. Security matters. Playlist health matters. Player population matters. And if these games are not getting those updates, then whatever problems they launch with could become problems that literally just stay there. And that's the part that worries me. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 are legendary games, but even legendary games need some level of support when they come back in 2026, especially multiplayer. Because Black Ops 2 multiplayer is one of the best multiplayer experiences Call of Duty has ever had. We're talking about the Pick 10 system, the maps, the score streaks, the pacing. It all worked. But if people load in and they run into that bad matchmaking, those connection problems, the cheaters, the dead playlist, or DLC split lobbies, they're going to leave fast. I'm telling you right now. Nostalgia, it will get people back in the door, but the actual experience decides whether they stay. Now, to be fair, not everything about this worries me, and that's simply just because of campaign and zombies. They're probably the safest wins here. So if you're buying Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 mainly to replay the campaign, those experiences should still hold up. Black Ops 1 has one of the most iconic campaigns in the franchise. Black Ops 2 gave us Raul Menendez, branching choices, and one of the strongest stories Call of Duty has ever had. Zombies is also a huge reason these games still matter. Because if multiplayer longevity becomes a concern, zombies could still carry a lot of value. Right? Because you can still play solo, friends, revisit the maps, chasing Easter eggs. So campaign and zombies are probably the safest parts of these ports. Multiplayer is where I think the games need to be handled very carefully. So here's my honest take. Yes, I'm still excited that BO1 and BO2 are coming back. I'm happy that we just get that gritty, original experience that we all came to love. Yes, these games deserve to be available on modern platforms. PlayStation players we have been begging for this for years, right? We've been left out, right? But I also think this PlayStation release has a giant question mark attached to it. The Treyarch tweet proved the demand is there. The own servers part is good. The return to PlayStation is good. The free camo packs are okay. The DLC price drops is better than nothing. But the lack of confirmed upgrades, the possible premium pricing, the paid DLC situation, the progression question, and the unknown update plan all raise real concerns. So, yes, I'm hyped, but I'm also watching very closely because I'm telling you, once these games actually release, that excitement, that hype, really quickly, it's going to turn into reality. And reality is whether we find out if these ports actually have long-term life. But now I want to hear from you. Are you excited for Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 coming in July? Are you okay with them being ports instead of remasters? Do you think that the pricing is fair, or is it too expensive for games this old? Should DLC be included? And most importantly, should progression be reset? Would you rather everyone start from level 1 and grind again? Or do you want your old PlayStation stats and prestigious unlocks to carry over? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I already know this one is going to divide the Call of Duty community. And if you like what you saw in today's video, consider subscribing today to become a Midnight Enforcer for more Call of Duty news and updates. This is Midnight Rage signing off, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good one.